stop treating data like a report card. Start treating it like a GPS, because data isn't just about improving performance anymore. It's also about empowering that performance.
Are you a fitness-loving foodie? Then Defy Snacks is for you. Defy offers real, high-quality chocolate you love, combined with functional ingredients, giving you as much as 26 grams of protein per bag, so you can be both a little bit bad and a little bit good at the same time. As a female-owned brand, Defy dedicates a portion of its profits to other women-owned businesses. Currently sold in the US, you can find us on defy.snacks.com and follow us on social at Defy Snacks.
Hello and welcome to the Shiny New Object Podcast. My name is Tom Ollerton. I'm the founder of Automated Creative, the creative effectiveness ad tech platform. And this is a podcast about the future of data-driven marketing. I've done like 300 episodes of this thing, man. And every week or so, I get to interview one of our industry's leaders about their vision for the future of data-driven marketing. And this week is absolutely no different. I'm on a call with, and I'm going to get the pronunciation as best I can, Kiesse Lamour, who is Global Head of Media Commerce at VML. So Kiesse, for anyone who doesn't know who you are and what you do, could you give us an introduction?
Yes, and you got my name really right, Tom. Thank you for that. My name is Kiesse Lamour. I am Global Head of Media Commerce at VML. I've been at the company for about 4 years, and my career has been quite diverse because I've worked across agencies and also tech companies, and then started my career. The early days of my career started in France, where I worked client side. So I like to say and brag that I have the 360 view of the industry.
Well, you just created an incredibly high precedent for this podcast. So, set yourself up one way or another. But anyway, let's get to it. Right. So I always send out a list of questions and anyone can choose any question they like. But you chose the weird one, right? Which is the last question, which is, how do you want people to remember your career?
Now that you said I'm weird, I don't know.
I didn't say that. I said you chose the weird question.
Listen, I like to do things differently. But to answer your question, and this is actually a very profound question when you think about it, right? Because if I were to answer it based on what cultures define success, I probably would have gone for, this speech win or that award nomination or that project that helped, the business deliver X amount in cost efficiency. But I decided to fast forward my life to my last day on earth, or even standing over my tomb, my grave. And this is the weird part. And all of a sudden, what I've realized is that none of that truly matters anymore, right? And I'd rather people remember my career not just by the things that I've achieved or the results that I delivered, but by the way that I showed up, right? That I showed up with integrity, with passion, with intention, because I'd want people to remember my career by the positive impact that I had on them. So if my journey can inspire other people to think differently or take bolder steps in their own path, then that's the legacy that I would be proud of. I want people to remember me or remember my career as fearless, or that I pushed the boundaries, that I challenged the norms, and that I never settled for the easy win. I want people to remember that I cared deeply, that I led with authenticity and left the room better than I found it, right? That I made space for other people, that I lended my voice to those who couldn't use theirs, stood for what is right. If I can achieve that, Tom, then I would be very, very proud for my grave.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't stand over looking at your grave and think about content effectiveness, Oh my God. Oh. That is profound question, a profound answer. Yeah, good for you, man. Brilliant. Even on that little pitch there, I think you may well be. So, second question. Do you have a single bit of data-driven marketing advice that you find yourself sharing most often when it comes to being a better data-driven marketer? Do you find, like someone new on your team starts, come here, and you give them a little pep talk? What do you say?
Yeah, I think when it comes to, I think what immediately comes to mind is, and things that I tell myself and things that I tell people that I lead, never lose sight of the bigger picture, right? What do I mean by that? You, as a person that works in media, as a person that works in marketing, you need to fall in love with the why, right? Not just the numbers, not just the data, not just the metric. I always encourage people to not just track metrics for the sake of tracking metrics, but actually interrogating them, challenging your biases, challenging your assumptions, and always asking yourself, what is this number actually trying to tell me? So we need to look at metrics in a holistic manner and not in a siloed way. So if I look at in the context of commerce, for example, 1,000 clicks mean nothing if no one converts, if no one is buying your product. So focusing on intent and not noise is actually critical. Basically, learning to separate and sift through signals, the difference between what is signals and what is actually distractions. And I think this makes the fundamental difference, in my humble opinion, between great marketers and those that are completely average at their jobs. Because I fundamentally believe that the best marketers are not necessarily spreadsheet wizards, right? Because management by spreadsheet, as I often call it, just to have a laugh, rarely works, right? Because the people that make the most of data, they tend to hunt for insights. They hunt for insight, and they are willing to listen to those insights and enable those insights to pivot the strategies, inform the strategies, pivot their approach, inform their optimization. And I think that is, really, really important. Because I think when we talk about data-driven, there is always a risk that we become data blind. And in the context of being a best or an effective data-driven marketer, it's all about understanding that context is also critical, be it economical, be it geopolitical, and we've certainly seen that, for example, with the Trump tariffs, as I call them, being the competitive context, being consumer psychology, all of that matters just as much as the numbers that you are reading on a spreadsheet.
So we're now going to move on to your shiny new object, which is data as momentum. So what is that, and why is it your shiny new object?
So it is my shiny new object, and I don't think it's really shiny per se, and I think it's more of a mindset that I would like to see more marketers, more media practitioners embrace. And this is based on, years of working in media, dealing with different sort of clients, dealing with different sort of teams. And I think when I talk about data as a momentum, what I mean is that data shouldn't be, and sort of in line with what I said earlier, right? Data shouldn't be a post-mortem. It should be a live pulse, because too often we tend to obsess over reporting after the fact. But I think that the real magic truly happens when you use data mid-flight to pivot your campaigns, to optimize your marketing activity, to adjust, to personalize your message. It really, truly is about measuring performance to move forward and not just to prove what has already happened, right? And if I could truly shake one mindset into every marketer and every person that works in media, especially digital media, it's this: stop treating data like a report card. Start treating it like a GPS, because data isn't just about improving performance anymore. It's also about empowering that performance. So letting go of the static reporting and starting to embrace what I would like to coin as live intelligence as the heartbeat of your marketing activity is what I really want every marketer and every media practitioner to embrace.
Oh, God, you're talking to the right person here. And, I feel your passion and your pain, because we've been doing this since 2018, right? And that's all we do. I mean, I'm sure your job is far more ranging than just optimization, but we're like, right, would you rather set and forget a campaign and let it die a death and then do a report on it? Or would you look at the data signals and optimize it based on what's working and why? For me, there's no argument, right? And we've got a handful of clients that do this all over the world, blah, 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 and love it and live and die by it. But some people are like, ugh. They want the report. They want someone to make a thing, and they want someone else to put that thing live, and then they want a report at the end of it on how the thing did. And you said it so beautifully. It's post-mortem versus this live thing. Like, data should keep the thing alive, not be there to mark homework after it's died.
Yeah, and it starts at the beginning, right? When you are working with data, it's about leveraging data as an insight, a platform or system to inform your planning, to inform your strategy, and then using that same data as part of the activation process, using data as part of the optimization process, and using that data, yes, as part of measurement and postmortems in order to inform future strategies. But I think when we talk about data as well, and I think I did reference that in the previous questions, context really matters as well, right? Because sometimes clients or agencies, we will look at something and really just like zoom into it and forget everything around what that data is telling you. And really just like be obsessed with that singular data, that singular number, that singular figure that is in red, and completely forgo of the entire context, be it, the business context that could be impacting the performance of your marketing, or even maybe your product being crap, right? Your product not addressing consumer needs or consumer challenges, right? What is it that they're trying to solve for? And that is very much important. Like, trying to contextualize that data is really, really key.
Well, one of the things that I learned from writing a book about data and creativity recently is that we are obsessed with the data that's easy to get, but the most important data is rarely the easiest to get hold of, right? Whereas, you open Business Manager or whatever it is, and this kind of like this deluge of data drops on you, and that's so easy to get, right? Versus getting on a train, getting on a bus, going to wherever the consumer is, and saying, well, why didn't you buy that, or what is it about that you loved or didn't love? Cause that's so hard to get. It's a very different type of data. But as the data-driven marketing organized industry is all based around easy data, right? But everyone I speak to with any experience, with any clout, such as yourself, he's like, no, context, what's going on around these numbers, right? Don't fixate on the number. The number is a shadow of a person, not the person.
Yeah, exactly. And when you say about, data that is easy to get as opposed to, everything else that provides the broader context. And that's where I, tend to make the difference between data and insight. Data is not insight. Data is just a piece of stick. You can make data talk any other, every other way you want it to talk. It's about really understanding the why, asking the why, and being honest, having the courage to also be ready to hear those answers, right? And it's very important. And I think as a marketing manager, marketing director, sometimes when you are interrogating your data, you don't necessarily like the answers that you're getting. But if you're going to improve your marketing activity, you have to be able to be honest and have the courage to accept what the insight is actually telling you beyond the numbers. It is important.
This episode of the Shiny New Object podcast is brought to you in partnership with MadFest. Whether it's live in London or streamed online to the global marketing community, you can always expect a distinctive and daring blend of fast-paced content, startup innovation pitches, and unconventional entertainment from MadFest events. You'll find me causing trouble on stage, recording live versions of this podcast, and sharing a beer with the nicest and most influential people in marketing. Check it out at www.madfestlondon.com. Yeah, so one of the things I've been talking about on LinkedIn, God, sounds a bit sad, isn't it? Right? But I have, whatever, is that like everyone's got data, everyone's got decks, everyone's got dashboards, right? The 3Ds, like there's loads of them. Inspiration is very hard to come by, right? So it's easy to get data, as mentioned. It's easy to whack it in a dashboard. It's easy to crank out a deck, right? Do you know what I mean? Like it's super easy. But that's not what brands don't need those things. Brands need inspiration, right? So they're going to sell the new thing. They need to be inspired for exactly what to do. And that inspiration can't be like, oh, well, Facebook did better than Instagram last week. Do you know what I mean? It's or whatever. Like that's it. It's a data point. Them going, statics did better than video. That's not an insight. That's information. All this goes in a deck, and you can see on the dashboard. But what we get really excited about is because we tag everything, so we don't go this audience did well, or this ad did well, or this format did well. We go these psychological triggers, written and visual within the ads. Those are the thing that made the thing do the thing that you wanted it to do, right? So then the brand could go away and be inspired by what they're going to do next. And it's like, but no one talks about inspiration. They just talk about decks, dashboards, and data. Why?
Because everyone's obsessed about reporting, right? We've become organizations that are obsessed about numbers and spreadsheets, the management by spreadsheet. And this is really something that we need to try to get out of. And I can understand, right? We all have targets. We all have CFOs that are breathing down our necks. So yes, we need to be close to the spreadsheet. But I think, infusing that with the wider context, with the insight and trying to explain, trying to understand the why is important. And I think on this point, I also remember a danger that one of my lecturers when I was in business school in France used to say. It's like when you start your career, there's something that I would like you to be really, really careful of. And he used to tell all of the students that be careful how you treat data because you will tend to get what you measure. So it's like you get what you measure. If you're measuring the wrong thing, if you are obsessed about, I don't know, in the context of commerce or ROAS, and that's all you want me to deliver that ROAS in green, and you're not interested about the wider context, you're not interested about the insight, about the audience, about the competitors, what is happening in the industry, what is happening in your category, then I can deliver ROAS. I just have to target all your brain keywords and I will deliver your ROAS. But is that the right approach when you're trying to drive penetration, when you're trying to drive recruitment and increase your customer base? No, right? So being careful of you get what you measure is also something that we need to bear in mind as marketers.
So where are you weak on this, right? Because you talk a very good game, as do I. We can say how everyone doesn't get it and we get it. So where are your weaknesses? Like, because yes, you get what you measure. Do you find yourself falling into that trap yourself, Heather? Like, how do you get, oh my God, I sat up, I worked all weekend working out what the ROAS was. Well, actually, what I really should have been doing is, understanding the wider context. Like, where do you get tripped up by yourself?
So like everybody else, right? I'm not perfect. I have blind spots. And I think for me, where I really get tricked off is when we are, and what I'm going to say is quite bizarre because we work in a fast-paced industry. But when we don't provide teams with the space to really think about the strategies that they are putting together, we all tend to just like revert in this fast-paced way of working to what we know, to what we're comfortable with, right? And they're not really pushing the boundaries of our thinking and challenging our thinking and really challenging and pushing and trying to understand exactly what needs to be done and how. I think I get tricked over by that, sometimes. And I have to catch myself and I have to catch my teams and say, no. We just need to take a beat. We need to take a step back. If we need to manage expectations with clients about, maybe delivering a piece of work a little bit later so that we get that space to really think strategically about what needs to be delivered, but also having the right measurement approach to what is it that we need to deliver is important. And I think sometimes when you have to deliver work, like, churning work, like on a conveyor belt, we can get tricked over and just revert to what we're comfortable with.
And that's getting worse with AI, isn't it? That like speed is seen as far more valuable than quality at this point in time. And I'm always wondering if we'll get to a point where like we go like this project needs slow thinking. We just back off, And yes, I'm sure you could get 95% of the answer from ChatGPT in 20 seconds, but actually you need 100%. You need to be 100% right. You don't need it to be, wow, yeah, it's pretty much there. If someone's designing a party invite for the Christmas pizza or something, who cares? What, crank it out. But like if everyone else is going to just do it fast, then that creates a massive opportunity for, for teams such as your own to just go, no, we are going to be a day late, but it's going to be 100%.
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes, and this is advice that I get from my mom, is like, she will tell you sometimes moving fast is moving slow. So by wanting to do something in a hurry, you actually end up creating more work for yourself because you're delivering substandard works that would need to be reworked and re-reviewed and readjusted, as opposed to if you were taken just another day, right? And everybody calmed down and chilled, just another day. That would have enabled you to deliver work that is of high quality. And yes, but those are just the realities of the industry that we work in, and we need to learn how we navigate those challenges. And I think you mentioned AI, and I think in the context of AI is how about how we learn to leverage AI to enhance the work that we do and not necessarily replace the work that we do, especially when you think of it in the context of creativity, right? I'm still not one of those people that believe that AI is creative, right? I don't think creativity can be engineered. I think it still requires human input. But can AI help you supercharge that creativity and help you push your thinking? Absolutely, right? It's all about using AI as a helper and not a replacer.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to have to leave it there, unfortunately. So Kiesse, if someone's getting in touch with you, where should they do it? And what makes a message that you'll actually respond to?
Straight to the point, try to hook me up on LinkedIn. I'm French. I'm very direct, straight to the point. So, hi, tell me who you are, what you want. Boom. I don't need, your entire life.
Yeah, whenever you get a message on LinkedIn where you have to scroll, you're like,
exactly. I need the mental availability for other things than reading long emails.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tom.
Hi. Just before you go, I'd really appreciate it if you could take the time to write a review of the Shiny New Object podcast on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, whatever it's called these days, or whichever podcast provider you use. We're an indie podcast, so it would go a long way for us if you could just share the word and give us a bit of a support on those channels. That would just be fantastic. If you haven't got time, that's also cool. And yeah, if you could tell your colleagues about the podcast, and also, if possible, don't forget to subscribe. And I'd love to hear your feedback. If you'd like to speak on the podcast or be a guest, or you think I'm asking the wrong questions, anything, I'd be super interested to hear what you think. So please email me at tom@automatedcreative.net. That's TOM at, I'm not going to bother spelling it. Anyway, you'll work it out. Thanks so much.